Is my mic working yet? Hey, everybody, this is True Powers Mine, and this is yet again TPIM SR Live. After changing out the sound card finally in this old beast, I think I might have got it right. Now I'm going to try calling General Gravitz back. Supposed to have him on tonight, but I wasn't able to confirm because I had telecommunication issues this week. At least I can say I know the FBI is not monitoring me because, yeah, not paying your cell bill, it will get disconnected. So, what I want to talk about tonight, in case the general can't join us, is basically what's been going on in the news as far as the Middle East and the Far East. Because I think these are two regions that a lot of young people are unfortunately going to have to get familiarized with rather quickly because of, well, basically the war drums. And if nothing else, I will try reaching out to some other folks. But hold on one second. Let me kill that. Let me get up here one more time. I can't find it. Hold on one second. There it is. Got that. I'm going to try calm again. Should be 5 o'clock this time. All right. Enough of that. Now, 1 second, y'all. I'm going to check this other device real quick. I am going to well, isn't this just special? Record number of citizens working. I'm assuming that's all citizens. Wait, this 157,000. That doesn't seem enough. Hey, brother Murders, welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm up and running best I can. Best I can. As a matter of fact, I might give you a call. And just because I had to put a new sound card in here, I want to see if the software is working right. Hopefully it is. Because at first there was a gnarly feedback. And you guys saw how the thing was just dropping. So people thought I was probably dead. All right, let me get it. Hold on. On this show we call out and we get calls, so it's really cool. Hello, brother Murders. Good. Hold on, that sound is really low though. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can. That's 100%. I don't know. I don't know why the sound's so low.
I just turned up my phone, so I don't know for sure yet.
Hold on, let me try it now. To say anything.
Hello?
All right. I think I did get it. I did get it. Good. So now, have you been keeping track of what's going on in the news lately?
Uh, yeah, I've seen the past 2 weeks worth of news. I've been really keeping up. I'm seeing a lot of patterns here.
Now,
Speaking in general,
speaking to what I was talking about when I first came on, the the Middle East um, tanker issue. Have you seen any information about that?
uh, I haven't really been focusing on the Iran issue. It's more of what's going on, like what you have on screen economically as far as employment is concerned.
No, what I have on screen. Don't you think that's a dreadfully low number? Just 157 basically plus 1,000 or million jobs. My bad, million jobs, 157 million jobs. So that basically means approximately like what 70-80% of the workforce of this country is at work.
Yeah, I believe it's somewhere in the 80s as far as percentages. I believe
But
80%.
now that more of your fellow citizens working brother murder, do you see anything out there as a man on the streets? Do you see anything changing?
No, new day, same shit.
What about on the racial tip? Because everyone's working and presumably have more money, do you see more love and understanding out there on that tip?
Not at all. Not even close. It's the same game.
Same game, different day. Now, what are we gonna do about that?
As far as pertinent advice, as far as what's uh, beneficial and relevant,
Yes.
I would definitely get ready for 2020, 2021, or really what the last quarter of this year, if you want to be conservative, because this record employment mess is about to go down the toilet. If anything, they intentionally prop up, employment under Trump to prepare us for what's coming next, which is record unemployment.
Ooh, I knew
I
you was gonna
mean,
go there.
and the thing is, I mean, you already had Lowe's saying they're about to lay off nationwide, what,
Thousands.
7,000
Yes.
employees?
Yes.
Then don't forget people, Toys R Us,
Well, they're making a
GameStop is about to
comeback
go down the
apparently.
toilet. I'm sorry.
Toys R Us is apparently making a little bit of somewhat of a comeback, at least in the online arena. I don't know if they have actual stores on the ground just yet, but the thing is, though, brother, these jobs are not the answer. Jobs come and go, just like presidents come and go, but power remains. Do
Right.
you think it's time for the people to actually have a power base so that we can remain as well?
I mean, if you want to find power within this political realm and this realm of man giving rights, which are really privileges given to each other, and for the folks at home, there is a difference between rights and privileges. Rights are God given in short, and I
Right?
believe that privileges are, you know, given at leisure by man, so to speak. It's very arbitrary amongst social groups and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But do you think that do you think that we're too far tribalistic in our day-to-day operations for us to ever get our collective heads out of the sand and say, it's better, brother, that we work together and we build up some sort of front against our common, basically, oppressor or exploitator or employer?
I mean, no, I don't believe. I mean, if you ask me just me, I don't
Hmm.
because it's just a case of the deaf leading the blind.
Wow.
I mean, some of us, you know what I'm saying? Like some of us see what's going on, but we don't have that voice, and some of us hear everything, but don't really see what's going on. One's trying to lead the other. It'll never happen. As far as us just really, because the information and the willingness to accept what's really going on, that all by itself is step one. Before you ever get to any sort of action and, hey guys, let's get a bonfire, kumbaya, and really think this thing out. It's like you have to resolve, you know, these issues within yourself. You have to accept what's going on and do the proper homework, research, whatever you want to call it, before we get to this point where, okay, now I need you and you know,
To go
to
into
come together
action.
and right,
But, let's be realistic. What you said there in the beginning is true. There's not going to be this grand unification of all people holding hands and like, we're not going to take it anymore collectively. So basically, your best advice is get the tools and knowledge that you individually need to plug yourself into the system somewhere to eke out a living.
right,
That's
by
tough,
force,
man.
not by choice.
People don't want to hear that, brother. People don't want to hear that. They want to hear you get up here. No, get your little pitchfork, sharpen them up, and storm the palace.
Yeah,
Similar to Area 51. As we know, it's
that
just a
mess.
cover for the Jeffrey Epstein thing. By the way, he has big plans for his DNA, Epstein. He's going to have it frozen and even his genitalia apparently frozen for future, I guess, prosperity or posterity. But the bottom line is, when are we ever going to get mad to see rich men do the most heinous of crimes. When are we gonna get collectively upset on that?
I like that you brought that up because I've been thinking about, crime as like a concept and crime and justice, so to speak, respectively. And it's amazing how people don't realize, like I mentioned way earlier, patterns. If you constantly have rich people who are always getting off, or at least slaps on the wrist, in comparison to what? Thousands of us peons, peasants at the bottom, do
Yes.
any little thing, you are seeing what? Major crime.
Right. Right.
So I've been led to believe that with the concept of crime, if you are rich enough, not just in America, but in this world, you have a privilege towards what? Crime. You can do whatever you want.
You mean like murder and raping and all that?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're dumb about it, you will get caught anyway. I mean, there's a skill to it, but you have money at the end of the day.
A little bit of skill to it. Make it look like you're a cult leader or something, and everybody keeps
Right.
quiet. So there's no end to that. That just goes along with being rich. Then that's just a benefit.
It's a timeless occasion. I mean, we can go back to the earliest days where kings have killed thousands upon
Mm.
thousands for no good reason. But no king has ever really went to jail as far as within his own nation. Internal affairs like no
He
one
can't.
has
He's a
never
king.
happened.
He's a king. But wasn't that supposed to be the whole premise of making this new nation called the United States to get away from the the, the tyranny of the crown?
No, it's so that every man and every let me see corporation really the kings are the corporations.
Yes, they are.
That's how I feel about that. Kings are the corporations, and I'm not necessarily trying to tie this argument into the American Revolution and what the forefathers did and all that. I'm just saying that regardless of what title you have, if the money fits it, you can get away with a lot of stuff.
And not only that, you can do a lot of good though too with the money. I mean, I can't really think of any really kind, benevolent billionaire right now off the cuff because I believe there aren't any because they use their nonprofit as another like personal account situation that's kind of off the books. But if we ever got to the point, how like a lot of folks are always like, if rappers and dancers and all these black other entertainers would come together, they can somehow economically free us. Wouldn't the same thing be true on a truly this fundamentally human level if all the billionaires and millionaires came together, put something together for the poor people?
I mean, if you've made it to a point where you make billions of dollars, there is nothing clean about who you are, what you do. Your hands are absolutely dirty. Your corporations, any asset you own is more than likely tied to blood, disparity, angst, you name it.
Mm,
So, I mean, I don't really ever expect people that rich to have that sort of intention in the first place. I
wow.
mean, they might put on, they have the little charity here. In the case of like a McDonald's, always advertising the black folks. And look how many kids we put in school last year. You know,
Every burger and fry gets a buck bought for these
right.
little kids. Yeah. Yeah.
If you ever remember the Dave Chappelle skit where it was like a parody of that, like really working at McDonald's and the problems that come with that, and smelling like fries every night, and all you get to eat is leftover food that people didn't get or threw back at you. Even worse, but you get the point, the general thing.
Right. Right. But the thing is, these jobs until we get rote automation, because I know that you're pretty much a fan of automation, right?
I'm not a fan of anything that's going to put me out of a job in about 5 to 10 years. But hey,
Well, we no one's going back to the jungle or the caves or the desert, man. We have to go into the future, but we have to do it correctly. And you're absolutely correct. We have to take consideration on what jobs that we want to go. What's up, K Junior? Welcome to the show. We have to, uh, no more can we just go in for basket weaving 101, maybe civil engineering. I guess you might be able to do that to a little degree, but we all should know by now the big jobs of the future will be like scientific health degrees engineering, robotics, programming, software, only until AI gets ready to actually do the next round of coding and development in that arena. But for the most part, unless you start using your minds, I'm really fearful that a lot of the hands-on jobs are going to go to the wayside.
Right. A lot of jobs still need what I can only describe as human intricacy. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
The
Only,
human touch.
yeah, the human touch. So I mean, you got a minute if you have a job within that lane. I don't expect a robot to be able to, I don't know, cut your hair just yet.
Oh
You know what I'm
God.
saying?
Would you feel comfortable getting that sitting in a chair with this clipper thing? No, 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 no.
Not today, not tomorrow, not the day of my funeral, never.
Mm. And this is what kills me. When we see stories like down in Texas where they're trying to open up robotic brothels, okay? Who's gonna clean those robots up after each user? And are they gonna really do a good job?
Right. If it's self cleaning, are they going to do a good job? If
Oh,
it's,
have you ever seen a self-cleaning oven?
you know,
It's really not
I,
self cleaning. You know what I mean?
mhm.
There's a layer of dust. You wipe it up at the bottom, so somebody has to get in there and wipe up that box. And not to be so gratuitous, but I'm just saying, I, I'm not an anti technological person, but I am anti robotics and robots doing the things that humans should be doing. Because if we don't know yet, the people who are truly in charge of this thing, they look at us as useless eaters. And if you are in the useless eating crowd, you are at great peril of being killed. Straight up. Whether you want to look at it as poisoning. What's up, brother Nick? Welcome to the show. I know it's been too long, brother. This machine of mine has been down, but we're back at it again. Got brother Murders on the line, and we're talking about economics slash automation equals human pain and suffering. Because he said something. Brother Murders said something a few moments ago about billionaires and millionaires, or any person of adequate wealth. They all got there through devilish means, devious things. So that right there shows you their character trait. That's why there has never been a great, I guess, undertaking by the wealthy to uplift the poor, and that's why they continue to abuse not just mental, but physical, and in some cases even sexually, the underclasses. Now, brother Murder, going back to the benefit of wealthy people versus non-wealthy people.
Yeah.
Do you think that there will, when we really start hearing more and more about these devious, deprived sexual act that these men and women at the top are engaging in? Now, do you think that would be enough to finally shake and awaken the giant that is the masses?
Even within the realm of like sexual abuse or sexual misconduct, you have to understand that these rich and powerful guys use that type of evidence, proof of what you've done as a fellow billionaire, millionaire, whatever, to usually put you in line or make an example of you.
Mm,
That's it.
mm. And speaking of making an example, now you guys saw you seen the latest mass shooting, right?
Which one in the past, what, week,
Yeah, in
two
the
weeks?
I guess the little white dude that
Was
that
it the Garage Festival?
yes, and
Okay, I absolutely understand that, yeah.
all right. Now, on that deal there, do you think it is a situation where he is punishing the greater society for the pure tolerance it shows? Like they're not being on code with what haters should be on code with.
Um, a majority of mass shootings or mass murder events usually have some type of tie to the CIA. Um, so I can't really just always look at what individual motive has been put out by the news cycle. Do you kind of get where I'm going?
MK Ultra.
Oh, I was about to mention. Good job. I was about to mention the fact that MK Ultra is one of the most overrated things. I mean, not over, underrated things that people tend to bring up when they talk about the CIA. I believe the most successful operation that the CIA has ever had was MK Ultra itself.
Mm. Well, but you
Because
know,
it is, if I could just draw a picture, it's literally an octopus with over a million arms. MK Ultra had effects on every single aspect of American society.
wow, in a very negative way.
I mean, yeah. But I'm just saying, like in general, like the connections, the ties. When we talk about like the Stanford Institute,
Travis
MIT, just
Stock,
I'm sorry,
the Travis Stock Institute is what was
right?
the foundation of the MK Ultra program, basically, because they were doing that nasty sexual perversion in the UK. And now, if you look at the UK, the effects of the Travis Stock experiment is that UK has a birth rate now of out of every 1,000 women, only 11 of them bring babies to term. They're dying.
Uh, yeah, but I also just want to say, didn't the Tavistock, was it the Tavistock
Yes.
Institute? Uh, didn't they give us the Beatles?
Yes, they gave us the Beatles straight
And
out
that
of the
wasn't the
UK.
only music group or
No, they gave us
actor,
more.
you name it, that's tied to that institute. But imagine what they've done in America with hip hop.
Oh
You
my God.
know,
They weaponized it. They turned it into
it's
limp
been
wrist.
weaponized from the beginning. There were never any good old days of rap where you were ever
Yes.
this or that. It's all perception, and
Yes.
people in this industry and this culture just tend to have very short memories, and
Extremely
they take
short.
advantage.
And that's true. They have taken advantage. And we have allowed them through our ignorance and our monetary participation. And one thing that cracks me up, you always hear about this artist sells 1 million albums or that, but I don't know anyone buying albums anymore.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I thought about that too a couple of days ago. It's getting to a point where you will never really physically own music anymore.
No,
I mean, yeah, you can still go out here today and even get tapes. But guess what? 8 tracks are gone. I don't think anybody makes those anymore.
no.
VHS tapes down the toilet. It's clunky. It's huge. Nobody wants to carry around 5 tapes just to watch 5 movies. That's like a stack of books. It is.
Yes, with that grainy ass quality.
Right? And if you play it too fast or you play with the tape too much, it's gonna break. And then
Right.
guess what? No more movie.
That's why I embrace technology on one level, because it does make data storage and uh, basically drawing it back up very easy. But you got to understand, at the core of all the technology, including what we're using tonight to do the show, it's all brought forth out of a mindset of building a weapon. All the microprocessors in our computers, that was designed for ICBM missiles to hit their targets. All the targeting GPS data, that was ultimately designed to target an individual for extermination. So when we look at the tools that we got to so-called use for liberation or revolutionary purposes, or just general information dissemination, it's all a weapon. It's always been a weapon. If you do not fundamentally understand it, you're going to misuse this weapon to your detriment. What do you think about that, Murder?
Uh, I do understand the sentiment and I agree, but I just wanted to add that I mean, if you're what's the best way to phrase it? Any sort of technological advancement, as far as what's been in my lifetime, has been towards the easing of consumption. It just makes consumption for you easier.
Right, right.
And we just live in this culture that is, as those of us who know will say, it's consumeristic. We just always want the next best thing. It has to be good. It needs to be faster than it was yesterday. It needs to be hotter than it was. It needs to be a finer material. You name it. But at the end of the day, people don't realize the what intrinsic, not intrinsic, but extrinsic costs of having these things so
Yes,
conveniently. I mean, your
yes,
little pair of shoes has cost Chinese kid, what, a finger,
Mm,
an eyebrow, you name it,
time, just time in that
who already
sweatshop.
works, right? Who already works what, 12 to what, 16-hour days. We can go down the list. But people don't care. We always look at how much it costs. Does it look cheap? Does it look nice? The values aren't the same as far as what it really takes to get you something so conveniently like a pair of shoes, a hat, t-shirt, whatever.
Right. And some of that stuff, like the McDonald's uniforms, are made by prisoners in this country.
I've
Which,
read that. Yeah, I've read about that. Absolutely.
this is what I'm saying. We quite literally live in a system murder that is a complete cell. It is a complete square. You are boxed in on all sides. Now you have alternatives. You don't have to work, but guess what? You won't eat. You don't have to participate in society, but guess what? You're going to be shunned by society. That is the control mechanism I think they have used quite effectively to, for the most part, control half the world's population underneath the system. And the other half of the world is controlled underneath a communist slash socialistic system. So what I'm saying is they have both sides of the fence, the so-called capitalistic side and the communist side. The people at top work both sides of the fence. Why are we still playing these games? Why? Why are we still participating as pawns in the greater chess game? Is freedom that scary to you, Al?
To be honest, we're sheeple. We've been raised to be this way. It's
Mm,
been absolutely bred out of us to really fight. It's very consumeristic. Got to have mine. Ultimately, not dog eat dog, but person eat person type of world.
mm.
It's amazing how cannibalism is illegal, but any other form of what I believe is cannibalism is absolutely legal. I can
Cellular
take your house.
green.
I can take your family away from you. Let me get your kids. I can stop you from, eating. Really, I can stop you from going to school.
Damn.
A lot of just it consumes a person in more than just a physical way. It feels like to me the absolute bottom of cannibalism is what's illegal. But like stuff I've mentioned, it's okay for people to, in essence, eat other people
Spiritually and socially. Absolutely.
and mentally.
Yes. But that comes with the acceptance of these lies and concepts that is the foundation of your reality. You know, if you truly believe that you could walk through fire, well, that will be your reality. You'll be able to walk on hot coals. If you truly believe that you could fly, that would be your reality. You would probably be a skydiver or something to do with the air. We can reprogram our minds, brother, is what I'm ultimately getting at. We once we identify how we're being manipulated, and more importantly, why we are being manipulated, then we can begin to unshackle ourselves from all this basically junk that has been either preached to us as a young person or we observe it through being brainwashed through the TV.
Right. I just believe that it's what was I about to say? It's possible, but it's not practical. Not on a wide scale where it's just like I'm not gonna say overnight, but it's just it'll always be a thing unto itself. Those who truly know what's going on. Usually, I just don't never believe that there will be a mass awakening where everybody just wakes, up. Absolutely no questions asked. We know what's going on. We know what we have to do. We know what has to be sacrificed as far as how we're living in order to achieve a very greater goal. It's
Mm,
never happened. Everything has always been onto itself. Even the actual Great Awakening was what? Some Christian revivalist movement here or something like that. I
right.
might be mixing up my history.
No,
But
that's exactly what it was, the Great Awakening.
okay, great. It's just everything will always be onto itself. There will never be just this human wide sort of thing where, like I've mentioned, we just know what's going on, know what we have to do, and are willing to do it all together against those of us who have offended, who violated perpetually. I mean, these guys are the same bloodlines, cousins to each other. brothers in a lot of cases. It's just like I said, it's possible, but it's never practical. You still there? Uh-oh.
So I had to check on something. I heard somebody down there in the back. Now, before we end this thing, what I mean in this thing, I'm talking about the system of oppression, the system of injustice, the system of inequality, basically the modern world. Do you have any real alternatives, Brother Murder? Do you have any like real way people can conduct themselves? Uh,
Hello?
hello, you there? Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, okay, I'm back. I heard you say something about how to live or something.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the present system in which most people are conscious that we live in is very unjust, it's debased, it's corrupt. Okay, do you have any realistic alternative system that people could basically operate in, other than the one we presently are operating in?
I mean, I have to preface any statement by saying I'm not any philosopher or, social scientist or what have you, life coach, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like the best advice I could give any person is you really have to sit down and research, and you really have to reflect on whether or not you truly accept that information being put forth in each and every case. Because that information, an ignorant mind can only do so much as far as crafting and molding and getting better improvement.
Right.
So if you really want to improve, you have to look for that information. And not all information it isn't a matter of good or bad. It's either right or wrong.
But a lot of wrong information is being perceived as truth, though.
Also known as misinformation, right?
Right. I mean, look at the myth that like all black people are savages, always scheming and stealing. And it's like projection. We're not the ones who stole a whole continent. We're not the one who puts people into physical slavery. And then after we release them, we give them a whole bag of religious tricks to mess with their minds and consciousness. We didn't do that to nobody, at least not in
No.
modern
I mean,
history.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you can't show me anywhere in history people, melanated people were behaving like that anywhere on the planet
Right. Correct.
until after, I
I just,
guess, the exodus from Europe and that mindset went out. I mean, okay, if you look at the world today, it's really the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere is populated with all, a lot of dark skinned people, right? Why isn't the northern hemisphere the same way? Because you can find black people from the equator all the way to the tip of South Africa. Same is true from the equator all the way to the tip of South America, all the way to the tip of Australia, all the way to the tip of India. All right. But when we look at the northern hemisphere, you don't see the same type of pigmentation. And when you think about it, if we're all on the globe and the equator is point zero, the sun gets weaker at the same degrees going north or south. So why do you see the skin difference? Are you there?
I don't really know. It's really just part of that. I'm hearing some static on my end. That's why I was kind of being quiet. But I don't know. It's a peculiar, like I forget who said it, but it's a peculiar institution. Not slavery, but racism. and colorism, and it's all strange and weird, and it's just really one of many games that people play with each other.
Well, isn't it like a form of nationalism, and then just replace racism with patriotism? Then you understand. It's a nation with above all other nations. You may be French, you may be English, you may be Russian, you may be German, but you're still a part of this racial group. That's what I thought of it, and that's what how it
Yeah,
made sense to me, anyhow. So what about 2020? Do you think Trump's in it again, or do you think one of the 100 Democrat nominees are going to take it?
I mean, the White House is already his. I mean, indefinitely. I
What do you
mean,
mean?
we can go through the little dog and pony show of an election, but as far as what I was informed by a certain man from Anaheim, there more than likely won't really be an election anyway.
That could very well not be. Absolutely. But I don't think Trump really has the fanatics in the general population like everyone thinks. I
Oh,
know
they're
that.
working on that as far as, I mean, him and his administration are working on basically sorting out whether, okay, you're going to be one of two people to this Trump led government. You either love the president or you hate America.
Oh,
You will either fit in one of those categories. And more than likely, the love Trump camp will just only be exclusive to white folks.
zig how,
And they absolutely have to be white, white.
zig how. Yes, you know the whole score. That's absolutely correct what you just said. And most people are not getting it. That's why I keep on bringing up the trains, keep on bringing up people's itineraries, and keep on bringing up the destination of these trains, so that there will be nobody sitting there riding down the tracks talking about, I didn't know. If you heard this show, you know. You know exactly that's where we're headed. That's the only place you can head is to death on a mass automated situation. That's the world in
Yeah,
which we live in. They're going to kill you, and they're going to kill you extremely fast and efficiently. Very tidy affair. But nobody wants to
right.
hear that because that's unpleasant. That doesn't go with the narrative. Well, can't man and girl just hold hands into the rainbow sunset? And hell no. That's unacceptable. And that's just another aspect of the culture of death. And that's what we've been talking about tonight, Brother Murders. We've been talking about a culture of death that is pervasive in our political arena, in our health fields. You can't show me any drug on the market. And you were correct, Brother Nick, we're not black. Uh, you cannot show me any medication on the market that actually heals a person. It just merely masks the symptoms and keeps the infection damn near going in the body until it has another outbreak and I have to go back to the doctor and get more pills. That's what
Right.
this culture
It
of
just
death.
keeps a person, for lack of a better term, milkable. You get what I'm saying? It just keeps you
Yes.
long enough to just get as much money as I can from you. But at some point, the medicine will more than likely end up killing you itself, if
Yes.
not in junction with your disease. So it just keeps you alive long enough for me to get some more money, a couple 90-day supplies out of you, you know?
And the sad thing about we all know this to be true. We all know this to be true. If you don't believe me, if you're blessed enough to have grandma and grandpa still alive, go to grandma and grandpa's house and see how many pills they have to take. They didn't take none of those
Yeah.
pills when they were younger, but they got to take all
No.
these pills when they're older. And what? When they're using up their retirement money, they're using up their savings. That's how they're checking out of this earth, being drained. And don't get me started with nursing homes, how they totally fleece the old people, throw their ass in a bed and just drain them dry. 3 grand every month. Ching, 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 ching. And that adds up. Hold on. I
Right.
want to read this comment from Brother Nick. If we were to continue on the path, we won't make it to the future. Instead of us, we'll be replaced by mulattoes. Well, that's what I was saying about Great Britain. You better get on it and start making some babies because the future is not going to stop for anyone. The future is wide open. The only
I,
thing,
uh,
what's that?
Not to cut you off, but I forgot this guy's name. He they just elected him prime minister, isn't it? Boris
Boris.
Johnson.
Yeah, Boris.
He is British Trump. So a lot of what you're seeing going on here is going on with the UK. Brexit will absolutely destroy the UK's economy, and you might very well expect, a kingdom like Scotland and the Irish conflict to perpetuate with intensity. Scotland might lead the UK as far as the Irish, the troubles they used to call them. Those are
Mm.
definitely going to rev up. There's going to be war all over the place
Well,
because of Brexit.
now Brit X or Brit X is. I don't think it's going to happen because of the reality is they're too entwined into the German uh, European Union. And let's be real, the EU is basically Germany. It's controlling the purse. It's controlling the real power of that, the economic power. And these British people are too weak right now. They said this. This isn't me. This is them. They are too weak in their navies to even provide protection for their merchant fleets. Britain, my friends, the sun has definitely set on your little empire. I mean, it's going to be midnight for them for quite the while. And, the sun's about ready to set on us too, folks. Hopefully, we don't get a nuclear night light, though, to shine through our darkened night. And that's what I think is going to happen, honestly, because of the fact that we're too big not to be subjugated. Straight up. This country's too big and too strong not to be blown up and split up. And
It'll be
once
an implosion rather than an explosion.
you think so? You think too many of us are ready to cut each other's throats?
America has to just melt down all sort of civil, pleasantries, and this concept of what America is has to be broken into a million pieces. And there's some groups that are trying to put all those pieces together as they see fit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For this new picture of what America really is, or should I say, always was.
Yeah,
The
it's
wheel has
always been.
always been in motion for this nation to turn into a right wing, fascist, totalitarian government. We've done it everywhere else, but here on the surface, you got your Congress and your checks and balances, which is really just superficial BS. I don't even call it the Bill of Rights. I call it the Bill of Privileges.
Wow. Because that's what it is. Because they can be taken or given at will.
Right?
If you,
Arbitrary basis.
yes, if you don't believe me, every melanated man, woman, and child shot dead in the gutter. Their crime was that cop 9 times out of 10 shot them because he wasn't going to recognize their human privilege to be able to operate. And that's what Brother Murder's talking about. See, rights shouldn't be, nor could they be, truly taken away from you. Unless your little empire or kingdom fell, then obviously all rights at that point in time were dissolved. And that brings us back to this another important point. Were slaves prisoners of war? And if so, then the connotations of that speaks volumes to why folks were treated in the manner in which they were treated after the so-called emancipation. If you're a prisoner of war and you're dwelling in the land of your enemy, or at least your captor, what kind of fool are you to believe that they're going to prop you up economically for you to be viable?
Viable for them, not viable for yourself, of course.
Well, if you're not viable for yourself, then you're not really viable. You're just a sheep that's sheddable. We can keep on sharing off the wool, making our little blankets, and selling them off your ass. But none of this wealth is going to go to your little sheeplets. It's going to go to the master and their kids. And that's where we're at. I mean, really, when you break it down, it's like a huge dysfunctional family. That the dad was abusive and drunk, the mom was abusive and drunk, and the children are just trying to figure out which way's up in a social mobility mobility type of way. How do I stop being a peasant and become a squire or a lord or maybe even part of the royal court? But I'm telling you guys straight up, you're not going to get into the bloodlines. They may put a couple of dollars in your pocket, but you will never be in the principalities of true power without being spiritually connected to a force that can open up doors that have been sealed by these people. I know that's a little spiritual element to a very scientific problem. And yes, we are dealing with a scientific problem because they're using science against us. There was a new study that showed that more people prefer white droids to black droids. That lets you know right now what's being put in these robots, and what's put in a machine stays in a machine. So if I'm John Q. Hitler and I'm coding this device, hate black people, that shit's gonna stay in that motherfucker forever as long as that program's running. Be aware of that, folks. A lot of things that are coming down the pike have been planned out, and unfortunately, you are the target. There's a big fat target on each and every one of your heads and backs. And I'm just telling you guys, wake up to that fact and act accordingly. You have anything else to add to the discussion, Brother Murder?
Just a few things. If they're doing this and that to the Hispanic population in America, if they're doing this and that to the Indians, I'll let everyone else do the research. But 7-Eleven raids on hair supplies, stuff like that.
Right.
I have to just say to the black folks, what makes you think we won't be the cherry on top of this making America great again?
Mm,
This country has had an eternal black question, which is very much equal to what? The Jewish question that was in where?
Germany.
Nazi Germany. But I mean, in America, they just would put this pot on, slow boil
Crock
and
pot.
slow cooker. Now they want to turn up the heat, and they're really about to eat.
Wow.
We are on our way out of here. You are either going in the box, if you're dead, another box, break the law, or you can be in a box in another country, but you won't be there long anyway.
You won't. Because no other country
So,
wants you, buddy. I'm going to be real. No other country wants us.
nope.
So let's just be real about that. You know, no country came to our aid. Oh, let's go there and liberate the brothers. No, none of that. We've
Nope.
been on our own, fending for ourselves, and we are where we're at individually and collectively, not because of, but in spite of. And there's a huge difference.
Right.
We got what it takes. Hell, we got what it takes to make it individually. There's two of us right now just chopping it up. But we also have what it takes collectively if we could just get with it. I know it's going to be tough, but what's our alternative, Brother Murder? What's the alternative? Death and nothing. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoy life and I enjoy prosperity. That's why I try to come up with shows that points out good points in spiritual well-being, physical fitness and health. Go outside, get the medicines you need from the herbs and plants of the yard. Go into a quiet place and do your meditation or praying or read your scriptures, read your quadrains, whatever it takes to get your mind right. And then go outside and do some physical labor, walk around the block, do some gardening work, go to the gym, go to the parks, do whatever so that your body can get what it needs. And that's a good workout. Because unless you're thinking right and your body's working right, there's no way you'll be up for a fight. Just remember that, Yao. So you got anything else to say, Brother Murder? You still on the line, brother? You still there, murder? Well, the brother must be gone. You know, brother Nick, you've been putting in some good work, great videos, brother. Just want to tell you that before we take off here. I know this kind of slow show. I've been totally exhausted, been working, trying to get this computer working again. Thank God I did. Thank you, Most High. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tomorrow, the phone died. I figured as much, brother. Thank you for joining, though. Thank you for accepting my phone call. you know, his phone died. Peace and power. You know, guys and gals, we got a lot of great things ahead of us. And the best way to do it is work together. So this will be it, man. I'm going to conclude tonight's show. This has been TPIM SR Live. Today's date is August 2nd, 2019, the year of our Lord. As always, brothers and sisters, live your life of integrity without hate, envy, or greed. And I ask you, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power. Hey, brother T. Will. Yes, indeed. I almost should just call up Dr. Short or somebody and see. But I'll try. I'll do that in the morning because I really need to do some stuff real quick. But you guys be cool, man. Love you all. Out.